and welcome to A Guide to Workplace Communication Part 2. I'm your host, Keegan Anderson, and welcome to Casual Friday here in the Anderson Break Room. Now, last time we talked about getting a new job or starting out in the workforce for the first time. Today we're going to be talking about something a little different. Today we're going to be talking about managerial styles and how to effectively create open communication as a superior to your subordinates. Now, my information here comes from the Critical Theory of Communications and Organizations created by Stanley Deetz. Deetz created two different models for managerial styles: the information model and the communication model, where information is simply telling your employees what to do or having an open flow of information between your employees telling you what they want. And then there's the communication model, where you work together to get certain needs or wants done in the office. Now, each of those break down even further into managerial control and co-determination. Managerial control is me as a manager trying to fulfill my wills as a manager or the wills of the company. Well, co-determination is myself spinning it, where the entire office is working together to try to find a solution to the problem. Now, let's look at this first intersection of managerial controls and the information model. This creates something that Deetz calls strategy, the managerial strategy. And this can look something like this.
Now, Johnson, I'm going to need those fiscal year-end reports by this afternoon. Why? Because I said so, Johnson.
See, although that was information about what I wanted to get accomplished in that task, it doesn't necessarily explain to the employee why it's important or really give them an incentive to do that. So let's look at a different type of managerial control, the one underneath the communication model. So at the intersection of managerialism and the communication model, we have something called consent. Consent can look something like this.
Right, sales have been looking a little low recently. So, this month, whoever has the highest number of sales gets to walk home with a new refrigerator. Yes, a new refrigerator. So everybody gets selling so that we can get going.
See, although now the employee thinks that the task is going to benefit them, it's really only fulfilling what I want to accomplish. Now, all of these past two, the managerial control styles, they seem rather one-sided, as if they only benefit the management. But in an effective workplace, one must benefit both the management and the employees, keeping open communication throughout. So let's take one step closer to that. We're going to talk about the co-determination model, or co-determination, and where it intersects with the information model. And that's something called involvement. Involvement is along the lines of when you have open employee discourse, where myself as a manager or myself as a superior can listen to all of their ideas. However, involvement is not the same thing as participation, the next part of the discussion. With an involvement, I can choose whether or not I wish to act on them or not. That makes the employees think that while they may have a quote-unquote say, they don't really have any influence. In participation, the part of the model where the communication model meets co-determination, they're stakeholders in this situation. They have a say, and they will be listened to. Now, again, it's important to create this open flow. It's important to encourage as much participation as possible, and avoid things like strategy and consent. The I told you so's and you're really doing this only for me will not get you far in an open communication work. I hope some of these strategies that I've showed you in the past two videos are helpful for you no matter where you are in your current job. Things to avoid like the dead on arrival activities from part 1, or things to avoid like managerial control styles when unnecessary in part 2. Thank you for joining me for this 2-part series. My name is Keegan Anderson, and I have really appreciated your time. And until then, remember, you catch more flies with honey than you do by being a jerk.